In Boston, there's a palace, a Venetian dream built by a woman named Isabella Stewart Gardner. She wasn't just rich, she was a visionary. When she died, she left behind a museum and a very specific ironclad rule. Nothing inside, not one single object, could ever be moved. Her collection was to remain exactly as she left it, forever. This will turn her museum into more than just a gallery. It became a sanctuary, a time capsule. And that's what makes the story I'm about to tell you so tragic. It's not just about stolen art. It's about the violation of a sacred space, a ghost's final wish. The night it all went wrong was March 18th, 1990. The streets of Boston were a sea of green, a drunken mess of St. Patrick's Day celebrations. While the city partied, at 1:24 a.m., two men dressed as police officers approached the side door of the Gardner Museum. Inside was Rick Abath, a 23-year-old security guard. He was a long-haired musician in a rock band. Not exactly the first line of defense you'd imagine for a $500 million art collection. Against all protocols, he let them in. But the story gets weirder. Museum logs show that just minutes before the fake cops arrived, Abath opened and closed that very same side door. Why? Was he expecting someone? Or was it just a rookie mistake that opened the door to the biggest art heist in history? Once inside, the thieves didn't need fancy gadgets or high-tech lasers. They used the most basic tools, duct tape and pocket knives. They quickly overpowered Abath and his partner, taping them up and leaving them in the basement. For the next 81 minutes, they had the museum to themselves, and their every move was tracked by a network of motion detectors, giving us a ghostly playback of the crime. We can see them walk from room to room, but there's a terrifying blind spot. In the Dutch room, home to the museum's most valuable painting, the sensors recorded nothing. They were silent. How did the thieves know how to bypass them in this specific room? More chilling is how they took the paintings. They didn't carefully remove them. They brutally sliced Rembrandt's masterpieces right out of their frames. This wasn't the work of sophisticated art connoisseurs. This was butchery. When the dust settled, the world was left with an inventory of loss. Gone was Vermeer's The Concert, one of only 34 of his paintings in the world, a piece so rare it's considered priceless. Gone was Rembrandt's only seascape, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. In total, 13 pieces were stolen, valued today at over $500 million. But the thieves' choices were bizarre. They left behind more valuable works, like a Titian, yet they spent a huge amount of time on something baffling. For over 20 minutes, they struggled to unscrew a bronze eagle finial from the top of a Napoleonic flag. This worthless piece of metal has become one of the most confusing clues in the entire case. Why waste precious time on a trinket while ignoring priceless masterpieces? It's an anomaly that has stumped investigators for decades, a detail that hints at a motive far stranger than just money. The next morning, the day shift arrived to a scene of quiet horror. They found the guards still tied up in the basement and discovered the empty, slashed frames hanging on the walls like open wounds. The news sent a shockwave through the art world. This wasn't just a robbery, it was a cultural cataclysm. The FBI immediately took over and the investigation began. Early sketches of the suspects were released. One of them bore a striking resemblance to a well-known local career criminal, pulling the investigation deep into Boston's underworld. The trail was fresh, the leads were pouring in, but the initial sprint quickly turned into a marathon, a decades-long search for ghosts and shadows. In 1990s Boston, if a major crime went down, one name was always whispered: Whitey Bulger. The infamous leader of the Winter Hill Gang ran the city's criminal enterprises with an iron fist. The theory was simple. No one could pull off a heist of this magnitude on his turf without his knowledge or his permission. One popular idea was that the art wasn't stolen for cash, but as a political bargaining chip. Could Bulger's crew have stolen the paintings to be used as a get-out-of-jail-free card for their IRA associates locked up in the UK? It was a bold theory, linking a Boston art heist to international terrorism. While Bulger always denied involvement, the Irish connection has remained a tantalizing thread in this tangled web. But the Irish weren't the only ones on the FBI's radar. Another trail led to a different corner of Boston's mob scene. The Merlino Gang, a crew operating out of Dorchester. This lead seemed incredibly promising. An undercover informant claimed to have been present at a meeting in a local pastry shop, where the stolen art was allegedly offered for sale. Imagine that, discussing the sale of a priceless Vermeer over cannoli and espresso. The FBI followed this lead for years, believing they were on the verge of a breakthrough. But like so many leads in this case, it dissolved into whispers and dead ends, leaving investigators with nothing but the sweet smell of pastry and the bitter taste of frustration. Perhaps the most compelling and tragic figure in this entire saga is an aging Connecticut mobster named Robert "Bobby" Gentile. For years, the FBI was convinced he was the key. They tailed him, bugged him, and leaned on him, certain he either had the paintings or knew who did. They even got a tip that the art was buried on his property. In 2012, they descended on his house with ground-penetrating radar. Digging up his entire backyard, they found a hidden ditch, but it was empty. Did he move the art just before the raid? Gentile went to his grave insisting he knew nothing, but the FBI believes he was the last person to have possessed the art. Was he telling the truth, or did he take the world's greatest secret with him? The search for the Gardner paintings wasn't just confined to the East Coast. It went global. In the late 90s, a credible tip suggested the paintings were hidden in a farmhouse in France, leading to another international chase that ultimately went cold. Experts now believe the art has entered the dark, hidden economy of the criminal underworld. In this world, stolen masterpieces like these are considered dead capital. They're too famous to be sold on the open market, so instead they're used as collateral for massive drug deals between international cartels. A Rembrandt for a shipment of cocaine. It's a terrifying thought that these beautiful, delicate works are now just bargaining chips for the world's most dangerous criminals. Today, if you visit the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, you will see the empty frames still hanging on the walls. They are not placeholders. They are memorials. They are a constant, painful reminder of what was lost, a symbol of hope that one day the art will return. The museum is offering a $10 million reward, the largest private reward in history, for any information leading to the art's recovery. No questions asked. Yet for over 30 years, no one has come forward to claim it. The silence is deafening. Why? Perhaps the people who know are dead. Or perhaps the secrets are buried so deep they'll never see the light of day. The Gardner heist remains an open wound, a mystery where some shadows, it seems, are destined to remain in the dark. Thank you for watching. If you found this mystery as fascinating as I do, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest unsolved cases.